Okay, people, so now it is December 28th, 2017. Oops. Do you see what this is? This is a declaration for a birth certificate. This is a passport in 1975. It was good till 1975. They could extend it if they could come up with a, what do you call that? Birth certificate. But Joan had no birth certificate, people. I'm starting to think that Joan was one of those babies that, got lost in the system in England through the Catholic Church and was put up for adoption because she came into Canada with no birth certificate and her mother had to do a declaration, right? You can see Registration Nurses Act. Isn't that interesting? Right? Through the Catholic Church. Here's the original matrimony. Right? Through the Catholic Cathedral. Can you see that? Right? 1966. They got married. But this here was done in 62 when Joan was 18. And her mother was married to a Duncan, and then the Duncan hooked up John to Joan. So they were planning this to marry her off to a Duncan. So yeah, this is an old passport, Joan's passport, Debbie's passport. Like, seriously, who has this kind of stuff, people? Like, fuck, man. I can't believe this shit, right? Immigration identification cards, right? So there's the immigration card, but no passport. No birth certificate. Why is that? Immigrated in 1950. Seriously, maybe they're baby trafficking here, people. Because that was the big thing back in those days. Thousands and thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of children went missing within the Catholic Church, right? Or maybe this woman ran away so she wouldn't lose her baby, but who knows? I mean, like this, the name of the ship, RMS Newfoundland, but it says Canadian Immigration, St. John's, Newfoundland. So what, to come into St. John's, Newfoundland, and then they flew over to all across the country to Victoria? Like, I don't get it. And married a Duncan. The mother married a Duncan, and then she married off her daughter to another Duncan. After she had to file a declaration of who Joan was, in terms of she being the mother, and that was Joan, right? And Joan never did get a birth certificate, ever. That's all she ever had. And then, there's her marriage certificate. There's another one here somewhere. I got like two of them. Here's another one. See, there's two. So I have the original birth certificates. I have Joan's original declaration of who she is. I've got her passports. I've got Debbie's passports. Right? I've got their immigration cards when they first came in. Right? I've got Joan's ID. You can see. Like, what the hell? And then, of course, the family, they abandoned all that, people. Right? And then, because they did it once, they did it again. As soon as they got their grubby fingers on John, they just took the body and they abandoned everything else. And just to keep it short and sweet, Pension Corporation Group Life Insurance Plan terminates August 31st, 2003. Right? They took Uncle John within the first week. Shimei was calling up this niece, and the only thing that the niece wanted to know and talk about was where Uncle John's Superannuation Life Insurance Policy was. This is the week they took John. And she wouldn't tell anything where John was, how John was feeling. She just wanted to know where the Superannuation Life Insurance Policy was. Well, people, there it is right there. It's documented. It terminated on August 31st, 2003. So who wants the money? I think in light of what they fucking do here and what they've been doing, I think it's coming to light here, people. We're trafficking not only of human beings, but we're doing it through the Catholic Church. And Joan didn't even have a middle name. Serious, people. She was brought to the country in 1950 on a boat. Admitted into Canada. Admitted return Canadian. Admitted return Canadian. So maybe she went there and came back. I don't know. Immigration identification card. Anyway, you can see the date on that. January 31st, 1950. And then over here it says, I am the mother of Joan Salibras, who was born on blah, 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 1944. You can see that. That how proceeds shown to me hereunto, annexed and marked A to this my declaration, is a photocopy of the certificate of the registration of birth of the said Joan Salibras. And this is it. Form of certificate of registry of birth or stillbirth. This is all she had. Is that even a birth certificate? This is a declaration. But on her passports, she could only have so amount of time unless she produced a birth certificate. Because she didn't have a birth certificate, people. And she didn't even have a middle name. Right? So, how do we know that this woman even gave birth to Joan? Serious. And then, you can see here, it says, the wife of James Adam Duncan. Who the hell is James Adam Duncan? Mary Angus Duncan. She married a Duncan, and then they married Joan to a Duncan. Do you see, people? And then John got old, and then they went looking for a superannuation life insurance policy because of that nepotism. Because Joan got a job in the government. John got a job in the government through one of these, probably from this James dude, right? James Adam Duncan probably gave Joan a job, gave John a job, gave so-and-so a job, so-and-so, because there's like 7, 8 members in John's family who are like all working for the government. One of them was the secretary to the Premier, Christy Clark, at one point in this province, right? Which is all nepotism, people. And then Uncle John goes missing so that they can go looking for his superannuation life insurance policy. But let me remind you, people, Pension Corporation Group Life Insurance Plan terminates August 31st, 2003, because Uncle John knew what his family was like.